this is for you, right? And I'll be honest with you, it's not for you in your current form. And I say that because when I was in the position that you're in now, and I maybe had some of these thoughts, there was a lot of information that I did not have. If you were to go and just invest money in property blindly and just buy a property, put some money together, like you'd be rolling the dice no different than someone going to a casino, right? So there's information that you need to gain. And I think, especially when you're talking about things like your income, you've got a decent income, taxes kicking your butt, you've got debts, and you're maybe thinking about starting a side hustle, maybe you've already started one, and you feel like property is not for you. I think one of the first things that I would say is that you need to be willing to pay for information, because if you knew what to do, you probably would have done it by now, right? And I think the reason why you don't feel like it's something that is for you or is possible for you is because you haven't yet connected the dots of the information that makes it a reality in your world. So that's the first thing for me. And you can do that with something as small as buying books, buying ebooks, buying audiobooks, like a £10 book, something as simple as The Richest Man in Babylon, right? You spend no more than £10 on this book. Maybe you don't like reading, get the audiobook. You can listen to it whilst you're driving, whilst you're commuting to that job that you're not maybe so happy about because of the tax that's in your butt. But like, start making more use of the time and what you can even do with as little as £10 to get information that can transform your financial experience. Beyond stuff like books, the next thing is, because information is the real problem, speak to professionals, right? And that's what happens when you're a father and you've got a child who's got a yoga. But be willing to speak to professionals, right? If the tax is kicking your butt, one of the best things that I have done, right, is paid for an accountant. If you see it as an expense, then you maybe don't understand how valuable the power of having an accountant in your life is, right? And a good accountant is that, because not all accountants are the same, not all of them have the same experience, but having an accountant who understands your situation, your financial objectives, and who knows how to legitimately help you play the tax game so that you minimize your tax burden and maximize your income, you need that in your corner. It's going to be money worthwhile. The money you spend on their service will be outweighed by the money they make you or save you in tax, right? So that's another thing, especially as you're going up in your income brackets. And on top of that, when it comes to purchasing property, again, pay for professional advice. Speak to somebody who is experienced, right? A mortgage broker is one example, but again, if you're dealing with a mortgage broker, you want to speak to someone who's actually invested themselves, someone that actually has property and isn't just someone that just finds deals but doesn't really understand the property game. Take time out to speak with them, right? And yeah, it is closed, darling. Why? Because for the food's all done, they're preparing for lunch now. But the other thing is, even if you don't want to speak to a mortgage broker, even if you don't want to speak to an accountant, think about the people in your circle who you know who already own property, right? Sit down and have conversations with them, right? Take them out for lunch, take them out for a meal. Say you want to do something as a small gesture to spend time with some of the most successful people that you know firsthand. They'd love to go out of you. And this is the thing about success. People that are really doing well in different fields are usually willing to share information. Like I was always the person that whenever I saw someone that was wealthy and doing really well, had loads of properties, whatever the case was, I would always take the opportunity to ask them questions because people love to talk, right? And given the opportunity, a lot of these people will tell you some of the key things you need to know to go from where you are to where they are. So be curious, invest in as little as £10 and stuff like that for books and audiobooks, and engage with those that are around you who are professionals and those who are also proven to have the things that you want. Ask them questions. I speak a lot about how important it is to get the right information. I speak about spending the right money on investing in books, investing in audiobooks, having conversations with people that have got what you're looking for. And as good and important as that is, something that's important that goes with that is not becoming fat on information and never actually doing anything with it. Because if you are someone who turns around and says to me, look, Arnold, I've spent money on books, I've had conversations with people that are wealthy and successful, I've asked all of the questions, but I'm still not able to see myself succeed in this property stuff and in this wealth building game, then my question to you would be, how much have you actually practiced of the things that they're telling you? Because I've been guilty of this myself, right? Having so much knowledge and information on all these things to the point where I can give you lectures and seminars and workshops and I can tell you the ABCs and the XYZs, right? But in failing to practice the things, in failing to actually do the stuff, my money situation never changed. And I think what changed things for me was, rather than trying to do everything at once, just focus on one, two, or maybe three things that you can do to practice some of the information, right? Property. I remember the first thing that I didn't know much about what we were doing, but we just did. We rolled the dice. We played Monopoly enough times. And that same property now, when you calculate what it's capable of doing and what it has been doing, is something that we never would have foreseen in as much detail at the time. The value that the property has grown in such a short space of time, it's phenomenal. But it started with taking one piece of information and doing it. And if you don't do anything with the knowledge you have, your situation won't change. So you have to do stuff.